was ranked number 2 in yesterday's preliminary game. And also we have the record holder. And yesterday he had very good result. Yu Hexin. Actually, he set the record 2 months ago, and that time the result is 21 seconds. And yesterday in the preliminary game, he had the result of 21 seconds 93. Very good performance yesterday. So for the past 2 months, they have very good conditions. And for the athletes, it is very difficult for them to maintain at a very high level performance. So now we have the first game coming up, the 50-meter freestyle. Here we go. So 50-meter freestyle in its full strength of the athletes. As the shortest distance for the swimming. The record is 2091. Now we could see Yu Hexin, he is leading the others. Very good performance. He is the first one touching the finishing line. The third place coming from Shandong. So for the 50-meter freestyle, we could see Yu Hexin. He had very steady performance. So he always can deliver the result at around 22 seconds. So for the athletes, they may have some fluctuation of their performance. So it's very difficult for him to maintain such a high-level performance. There may be up and downs for these people's performance. But this year, we could see he has maintained a very good physical condition. Now we just saw the ranking for the 50-meter freestyle men's group. We all know these finals are taking place in the morning, and these athletes have to deliver the best conditions. So it requires very high level of morale for them to compete in the swimming pool. And they also have to adjust their physical condition, especially in the morning. And also the 50-meter freestyle is a very short distance competition. So they have to come up with their best performance. So for the 1,500 meter, even though you're not coming to a very good start, so you could actually adjust your conditions and catch up with the others. But for the 50 meter, you have to come up with your best performance right at the beginning. Soon we will have the 50-meter freestyle for men's group.
The line number 8 from Zhejiang, Wu Yue. It's 25:07. That's her record yesterday. And this lane 1 from Beijing, Han Tingru, 25:96. Yesterday's record. And this is lane 7. 25:76 is her performance yesterday. And this is lane 2. Yang Jinxuan from Shandong. It's a very young girl. The 25:12 yesterday. So this is the 850 meters. And for the young girl, maybe show her strengths in 100 meters. And this is Chen Xingyi from lane 6 from Shanghai, 25:12 resort yesterday. And from Zhejiang, Zhu Menghui from Zhejiang, 25:16. And also lane 5 from Guangdong, and also the record holder of the ancient competition. Yesterday, she ranked number 2. And lane 4 from Jiangsu, and she is also the Asian record holder for the 100-meter butterfly. And yesterday is 24.31, ranking number 1 from yesterday's competition. And actually, this is the last October. Actually, was her first time to try a new stroke, and also she showed her talents yesterday. So we believe that today, 15-meter, is still all these young girls. They are all the tops right now in China, especially lane 3, lane 4, and 5. Let's see. So from this angle, we can tell actually lane 4, 5, and 6 quite even. And right now, lane 4 a little bit front. And we also see right now the other girls catching up. Very close, so close. So look at lane 5 and look at the margin. It's really slightly different. So the result for Liu Xiang is just so-so. It's not really eye-catching, but still we talk about actually this is really happened this morning. And for morning, it's not a perfect performance time. But actually you can tell that the A performed better than yesterday. So actually, Liu Xiang not really show whatever she had yesterday, but look at it today because this is also the finals. So you can see actually they compete quite head to head. So the result you see that O improved. So congratulations to Liu Xiang. So also see that Liu Xiang actually at the later stage, she really showed her strengths. So because she actually with the background of a butterfly, so she really have that muscles in her legs. So that is why she also have that power at the later stage of that 5-meter games. And right now coming up, that's our 100-meter, the breaststroke.
Now we are coming to the third item, the 100-meter breaststroke for men. Well, the course will be more steady because I think the athletes have not yet come to their physical conditions, and we could see we end the 50-meter freestyle very soon. Now we welcome the athletes to compete for the 100-meter breaststroke. Qiu Tian from Guangdong, a very good result yesterday. And 7 from Henan. Lane 2 from Hebei. 01, 01, 21 yesterday. Lane 6, Song Jiale. Yesterday he had the performance of 01, 01, 05. And also we have Lane 5 have very good performance, and he used to be a record holder of the 100-meter breaststroke with 58 seconds 81. Lane 5, Qin Haiyao, 01, 01, 06 yesterday. And Yan Zibei also have very good performance. He used to be a record holder for the 100-meter breaststroke and the 50-meter breaststroke. And actually, Yan Zibei is one of the best athletes for the 100-meter breaststroke for China. Also one of the leading athletes for the national swimming team. And for these athletes, we hope this time they could have some like breakthroughs in today's national swimming competition. And we hope the younger generation also have a better performance this time so that they can actually challenge the results for those senior athletes. So now we're having the 100-meter breaststroke, and actually 4 athletes coming from Hebei province. And also yesterday, just now we have the 50-meter freestyle. Also have 3 athletes from Hebei province. And we just talk about the record for the 100-meter breaststroke is 58 seconds and 62. And in last year's national championship, we think Yan Zibei is not at his best performance. And actually, he lost the game to Sun Jiajun. And this time, let's see what happens. And maybe today, he has already well prepared and want to win this game. And yesterday in the qualification game, we could see Yan Zibei had a very good performance. Now we could see he is leading the others after 50 meters. So his teammate is also from the same team. So we really want to see a very high level competition. Let's see if they can set a new record. 59-59. That is the result for Yan Zibei. Well, still a little bit lagging behind of his performance yesterday. Well, we all know it's very difficult for these athletes to deliver their best performance in the morning. And later we can talk about their physical conditions in long-distance competition. And maybe we will talk about how these athletes can better adjust their condition. Actually, right at the beginning, Yan Zibei is not leading others, but after the first turn, he's catching up with the others. So you could see on the first round, first lap, he is lagging behind with Sun Jiajun, but on the second round, he's actually catching up with the others. So now we have finished 3 games, but we could tell the results today is not as good as yesterday's qualification game. For Liu Hexing and Yan Zibei, even though they had gained number 1 yesterday, but today their performance is not as good as yesterday. And also Liu Xiang win the 50-meter freestyle for women's group, but she still cannot catch up with her best performance. So I believe these people is about to come to the Tokyo Olympic Games, but we all know the finals will take place in the morning. So all of these athletes have to adjust their physical conditions to make sure that they can deliver their best performance in the morning. So if we look at the results, we could see they do not have a big differences in their results. But if you come to the Olympic Games, even 1 second will make a difference.
And then coming up is the 100-meter breaststroke women. And see, this is Cheng Xiaohong from Guangdong. It's lane 8. 01-01-13. That's her result yesterday. And this is lane 1, Zhang Xingyu. And 01-10-41. And Peng Aiyuan from Anhui is lane 7. And 01-10-19. And Xue Jingtong from lane 2 from Liaoning. Lane 6 from Shanxi. And He Yun. 01-09-73. And lane 3, Yang Chang from Shanxi. And 01-08-04, her result yesterday. And lane 5, Yu Jingyao from Beijing. 0106.74, the rank number 2 yesterday, and lane 4 0106.40, and Ting as her result yesterday. We can tell that she improved quite a lot compared to her performance 2 months ago. And we talk about the finals actually this morning happened in the quite morning early session. So we talk about that the athletes need to adjust their performance, their status, because for Tokyo Olympic Games already confirmed that the semifinal and the finals will take place in the morning. So we look at the athletes. And in the recent years, we talk about the women's performance in the breaststroke. Actually, not really show big advantages or big strengths. So we will see like this morning, we will see how the young girls perform. So we see Tang Qingqing right now slightly in front. Just purely judging from this morning, we talk about that the athletes who's very strong in the later course of the competition actually is taking more advantage than the athletes who performance better in the starting period. So that's the first turn. And Tang Qingqing lane 4 coming up the first, and then lane 5, and then it's lane 3 Yang Chang. So right now you look at after the first turn, you can see that the two ladies right now just head to head. So Yang Xinting, I believe that she's really good. You look at her movements, quite active, and also make her a little bit ahead of others. And look at right now, it's the last final meters. Tang Xinting, number 1 is from lane 4. Touch the wall first. 1:01:06.83. That's her final results. Yu Jingyao 01:07.08. Slower than yesterday in the preliminary game. So congratulations to Tang Qingqing. He's getting the number 1 in the 100-meter breaststroke. So we look at actually this is the first 15 meters. So Yu Jingyao not really making ground. So basically a half a body length backward. But it looks like after the first touch, that really helped her getting ground. So we talk about actually there's no tolerance for any slow movers. All right, this is the final result of a women's 100-meter breaststroke. So we talk about it's quite like the basketball games, that you really lost a lot of the points at the first or second quarter, then sometimes it's really hard to make a big win at the third or final quarters. So we talk about that. We always would like to gain some advantage at the very beginning, but sometimes it's like swimming, it's like basketball. Sometimes if you lose too much at the first session of the games, then sometimes it's really hard to catch up in the later stage. And then coming up is the award ceremony for the 50 meters freestyle. So we talk about that today. Right now we finish the two-stroke competition. Still, we see that judging from today's performance, that the athletes who perform stronger in the later stage of the competition actually help them to win the game. So look at actually the players performed so good at the startings, actually not really can keep their whole performance throughout the whole competition. So we talk about that for the performance. This kind of performance, especially for this level athletes, So they're well trained, and also they improve their strengths, their performance. But actually, we talk about it's really hard to change the A player who good at starting or good at the A final sprint. Actually, it's really hard to change from a good starter to a good finisher. So we look at actually they need to change the way they train or the way how they compete. Maybe that's much easier. So we talk about like the A mid length or short length competition, like a 50 meters, just like one movement that's really can totally change the direction of the game. So we need to pay greater attention to the details, because right now we have seen that the overall strength or the overall competition capability of all the athletes actually improved a lot. So that also gives us more time and efforts to pay more attention to the details. We talk about actually every athlete is more or less the same, but actually the final winners will be the one who actually is doing well in the details. So that also reflects from their day-to-day training. So that should be something actually deep in their body. So they need to well trained in their daily practice, so they can really reflect that from the competition. So we talk about the athletes. So talk about details. For example, that athletes should raise their heads up after touching the wall, but like the athletes actually, a lot of them just first raising the head and then touch the wall. So right now is the award ceremony, and that's for the 50 meters men's freestyle.
刚刚这个男子50米决赛过后啊，这个于鹤清走过我们这个评论席的时候也说，早上太难游了，早上太难游了。
So we just finished the 50-meter freestyle for men, and actually some of the athletes are telling us that this kind of competition is very difficult to compete in the morning. So congratulations to Yan Zibei, actually gained the third place with 20 seconds 79. And we have actually invited the director of the Guangdong Swimming Association to deliver the awards. And actually, he is the coach for Yu Heqing. So the second place goes to Yu Heqing. So actually, he is a very well-known coach, Yu Heqing, the winner of the 50-meter freestyle. So actually, he said it is very difficult to compete in the morning because they have to adjust their physical conditions. Congratulations to Yu Heqing, He Junyi, Liu Shaofeng. So actually, we are just talking about in the swimming competition with just less than 1 second, and then we will come up with different results. Soon we will have the award ceremony for the 50-meter freestyle for women. So this time actually the indoor temperature is very high. You can see for some of the athletes they're actually wearing down coat because before they start the game they have to keep themselves warm. Now we're having the award ceremony for the 50-meter freestyle for women. Actually, for the final, we could see very intense competition. So we have Director He Xinzhong from Guangdong Swimming Association to present the awards. Yan Zibei winning the third place, but actually this is not her advantage in the 50-meter freestyle. So this time I think she has delivered a very good performance. So actually, we could see the competition within the teams are very fierce, and we could see some of. For the third place, we have two swimmers. Very intense competition. Liu Xiang, the winner for the 50-meter freestyle for women's group. So for the swimmers, the winners for the 50-meter freestyle, both men and women, are coming from Guangdong province. So all these two athletes are actually from the team of the coach. Actually, they're gaining the first medal for the new year. Congratulations to all the athletes. So that's the end for the award ceremony for the 50-meter freestyle. So I believe for the gold medal for Yu Jiaxing, actually it is the very first gold medal this year. And also for Yu Jiaxing, he has a very good performance. And soon we will have the final for the 200-meter butterfly for men. So I will ask our commentator, Mr. Wu. So as you are an expert in the 200-meter butterfly, so do you have very high expectation for the other athletes? So for the young athletes, so what is the common for them? Actually, I pay a lot of the attention to the details for the performance of the athletes. I still remember in the 2016, the Olympic Games, I especially pay attention to Li Zhuhao. Actually, right at the beginning, he started very slow, but he's not very good in the first stage of the game. And then, because of that specific detail, he lost the chance to win the gold medal. Because for these athletes, they have to keep up their momentum and their morale for 4 years until the next Olympic Games. So I think all of the athletes have to make all our efforts to gain a medal in the Olympic Games. So maybe for this game, maybe we would like to invite Mr. Wu Peng to find out some of the mistakes for these athletes. Lane 8 from Shandong. Lane 1, Wang Kecheng. Very experienced swimmer. And actually, I think he's very senior athlete because I have been retired for 7 years, and I used to compete with him in the past. Lane 2 from Shanghai. And in the preliminary game, he gained the results of 020116. And for these young athletes, I think they have very good physical body condition. They're stronger than myself. Lane 3 from Guangdong province. And he gained the results of 015957 in yesterday's preliminary game. Lane 5, Chen Jiahong, also a record holder. Wang Zhou, ranked number 1 in yesterday's preliminary game. And actually for the top 4 for yesterday's competitions, they all come up with the results with less than 2 minutes. So I think this time all the athletes are already catching up with their physical conditions. And I believe if we look at the results for the preliminary game in this time's national swimming competition, they are much better than last time's national competition. Well, it's very difficult for the athlete to complete the 200-meter butterfly. as professionals, I think many athletes do not want to compete in this item, especially for the last stage of this game. They will feel very uncomfortable. It's one of the most toughest swimming competition. Because for the butterfly, it is very energy consuming as compared to other types of swimming. We could see lane 3 and lane 4, they're very close. And I think the Shen Jiahao is leading the others in terms of the 100-meter butterfly. Now we could see he had already made the first turn. But Wang Zhou used to be a record holder for the 200 and 400-meter swimming, so we think he has a better endurance in terms of the swimming. Because when it comes to the mid to long distance swimming, so all of these athletes have to adjust their body conditions and also to come up with different strategies. As we all talk about, Shen Jiahao is very good in the 100-meter competition. And just right at the beginning, actually, he is leading the others. But now we could see lane 4, Wang Zhou, is already catching up with him. For the 200 meter, we think the last 100 meter is very important because we want these athletes to come out to a last spurt. Now Chen Jin is actually catching up. Last 50 meters. Well, actually, after each turn, we could see Shen Jiahao is leading the others. So maybe he has a very good technique in the turning. All right, we already see 3 athletes are leading the others. They're quite close. Wang Jing is coming up to the last 10 meters. All right, Wang Zhou is the winner, especially in the last 5 to 10 meters. He started to surpass the other athletes. And as I said, he used to be a long-distance swimmer, so I think has a very good strength, especially for the last stage of the competition. So the champion comes to Wang Zhou. Congratulations to him. Even though it is not his best performance, but I believe as compared to the last couple of games, he has already delivered his best results. So we just said the 200-meter butterfly is very difficult. For this kind of distance, it requires your strength and also it requires your tolerance. So just like you're running 400 meters in the track, so actually the strength is not the only thing. You have to be enduring enough in order to make a last spurt. So for myself, in my professionalism, and especially when I come to the long distance competition, I have to reserve some of my strengths for the last stage of the competition. But of course, we have to make a balance to find a good balance between the spurt as well as reserving the strengths.
And right now coming to the women's 200-meter butterfly, and there's lane 8, 02, 12, 50. That's her performance yesterday. And lane 1, Ma Yonghui from Hebei, 02, 12, 31. And see, it's quite young face. And lane 7, Wu Lin from Fujian, 02, 12, 30. You can see all girls wear down jacket. And it's lane 2, Liu Zhitong from Shanxi, 02, 12, 11. Lane 6 from Fujian, Zhu Jiaming. And this is lane 3. And for Zhu Jiaming, 02, 14, 44. And Yu Liyan, 02, 11, 19. And lane 5, Zhang Yifan from Hebei, 02:10.66. And lane 4 from Jiangsu, and the Asian record holder is lane 4. And rank number 1 from yesterday's preliminary competition. She just finished her 15-minute freestyle. So we talk about that. She just finished a game that required really strong ability to sprint and require speed. But right now coming to another game that required strong endurance. So that's two totally complicated games, totally different games. And we also look at the ladies. Hope them have performed well and also got a good result in the Tokyo Olympic Games. So this is 200-meter butterfly for the ladies, and we see they had a quite good look at. Actually, it's already helped her to win a half-body strength. So that's the half-body length. So we can see from the very start, she had a really good start. So from the starting stage, we look at Zhang Yufei from lane 4. So really help her to get right now already a body length advantage. So look at, actually she played really aggressively today. So right now already 2 body lengths. I believe she's really aggressive and really quite strong. We talk about that 50-meter freestyle game just help her to be totally warmed up. Right now we look at, actually it's not a difficult thing for her to get another or to get the championship for this 200-meter butterfly. So you can see right now, actually no one can doubt her leading position. Lane 4 right now is really taking the ground. And we talk about a 100-meter butterfly, 200-meter butterfly. Actually, she just compete with herself. We look at the other players, actually right now not really impose any challenge to her, so that for herself she really needs to push her own boundary. So we see this after another turn. Still the first one to turn is lane 4, Zhang Yufei. So right now we look at the speed a little bit slowed down. So maybe she swam too fast at the first 2 rounds. But actually for her it's like this the time that for her it's like to compete in the different games, and also actually is more used to competition to test her training results. So still lane 4, 02:04.49. So yesterday is 04:07. So it's quite fast. So we look at, actually for the third 15 minutes, we don't know whether it's her tactic to reserve some energy for the final sprint, for the final 50 meters, because we look at, actually from this angle, we can tell actually she swam really fast for the first 250 meters, and then she hold on, like slow down a little bit for the third 50 minutes. So we talk about maybe that's a new way to compete the game. It's possible that she had really fast starters. But like we talk about for the athletes, they need to really find out their own rhythm of the game, and also do not really change your rhythm, because that's your own speed. So for these kind of large scale competition, that they have their own speed, their own rhythm, especially for butterfly. That butterfly really require that certain tempo. And as we can tell, tempo actually is important than anything else in that butterfly stroke. So we talk about that they need to set their own tempo. If their tempo actually is messed up, then it's really hard to really get back to their own tempo. And this is the award ceremony for the breaststroke. And the third place, Qin Haiyang. And the second place from Hebei, Zhou Jiajun. And also the first place, Yan Zibei from Hebei. For the 2 straight days, actually, his result just within 1 minute.
颜子贝呢，在100米蛙泳实力更强一些。
Congratulations to
然后裘海洋
03.
呢，在200米蛙泳。
Yan Zibei actually, we believe he's even stronger in the 100-meter breaststroke, and Qin Haiyang's better in the 200-meter breaststroke. So we actually look at the athletes really actually can perform in different games, in different lengths, and different strokes. We talk about that different stroke, different distance require different ability. We talk about same stroke, but that's 100 meter or 200 meter. If we want to be at the top of the list, it's not an easy thing. So we talk about actually different. That later on we will see the individual medley that's required really different abilities for different stroke, different distance. So for any athletes, if they swim for different distance or for different stroke, that's really a big strength, and we talk about they have that talent. And right now this is the 100-meter women's breaststroke award presenting ceremony. And we also invite Mr. Li Haishen from Hebei Swimming Association. And the 3rd place goes to the athletes from Shanxi, Yang Chang, 010858, her final result. So it's a big improve compared to her result yesterday. And from Beijing, that's the 2nd place, Yu Jingyao, 010708. And the 1st place goes to a lady from Shanghai, 010687. Congratulations. So we talk about actually this is a big theme that for our athletes need to really work on that, because they need to find their peak performance in morning session. We talk about that the semi-finals and the finals actually always in the evening, but actually we know for Tokyo Olympic Games, the semi-final and the finals actually will be happen in the morning. So for athletes, they need to adjust themselves to find their best position in the morning.
So during this short break, I would like to ask Mr. Wu, so have you ever attended a competition in the morning? So any tips for the athletes, for example, how to motivate yourself? So you may remember the Beijing Olympics and some of the games are held in the morning. And for the athletes, in order to adapt to the conditions, so we have to wake up early. We have to sleep earlier and wake up early. So actually, it's very difficult for me to fall asleep at a very early time, but you have to force yourself. You have to calm down. And at around 7 or 8 p.m., we have to start to get prepared for the sleep. For example, you can do some readings and listen to the music. So hopefully, we could fall asleep at about 9 p.m., so we could wake up at 5 a.m., so that we can still maintain an 8-hour sleep. So according to scientific research, so 4 hours after you're waking up, so you will reach to your best position. So sometimes if you wake up too late, meaning that you may not able to completely wake up until the end of the game. Now we have come to the final for the men's competition for 400-meter freestyle. Chen Ende, lane 7 from Zhejiang. And And his result yesterday is 0-3, 5-2, 4-6. Lane 2 also from Zhejiang. And yesterday he delivered the result of 0-3, 5-2, 2-0. Lane 6 from Shandong. Yesterday he delivered the result of 0-3, 5-1, 1-5. Lane 3 from Shandong. 0-3, 5-0, 1-3. Lane 5, Zhang Ya from Hebei province, and used to be a number 2 for the 2020 National Championship for 400-meter freestyle. Lane 4 also from Shandong, and used to be a champion of 200-meter freestyle in the competition back in 2020. And yesterday in the preliminary game, he is the first one that have delivered the results within 3 minutes 50 seconds. In terms of the mid and long distance swimming competition, actually he is a very leading figure. So if he delivers very good performance, actually he's leading the other athletes in the same province. So he's a very excellent athlete in the mid to long distance swimming competition. So every athlete needs to set a very good long-term objective. So for some of the athletes, and sometimes people may have a 2-second distance. So what do you think? I think 2 seconds is a quite a good advantage. Alright, now is the final game for the 400-meter freestyle for men. So yesterday's record is 0-3, 40, 0-7. Let's see if these athletes can't break this record. So actually in London Olympics, Sun Yang had the chance to break the world record. However, when he come to the finishing line, he's a little bit slackened off. That's why he has not yet broken the world record. We could see lane 6, Hu Jia is leading other athletes. And yesterday I watched a documentary, and they actually talking about some of the athletes for the 400-meter freestyle. And for some of the athletes, they actually didn't go back home. They stay in their swimming team. So especially this year and last year, actually, some of the athletes are not able to go back home because of the epidemic. So if people are staying in the swimming center, they can train themselves during the spring festival. And for some athletes, they have to train themselves for 1 to 2 months without other teammates. And I think they have done a very good job, because during the isolation time, some athletes, they went back home and they were not able to come back to the swimming pool. And it's very difficult for them to train themselves during the epidemic. And I think for a very excellent athlete, they're able to do some physical exercise to keep up with the good morale and physical condition. Now, lane 3 is leading the others, Mr. Cheng Long, and also the one next to him is actually catching up with him. And Ye Shiwen, in yesterday's preliminary game, I believe he is not at his best condition. But I believe if he can come up to his full strength, he may have an advantage as compared to other athletes.
调整啊、训练啊，可能只是把它作为冬训这个一个期中考试。
So maybe this time they're not yet adjusting their conditions, and maybe it's just a test for some of these athletes. They need to adjust their physical conditions. And right now, we are not sure whether each one of the athletes they have come up to their best condition, and they may have some targeted training in order to reach their full strength.
当然，我觉得首先是件好事儿，但是每一次比赛其实
And now we have more opportunities to see these athletes compete in the swimming pool.
这些训练啊，包括一些
But different athletes has different objective for each time of the competition, and sometimes their objective is not to gain a medal. They just want to come up with different like tactics or strategies for the competition. 季新杰 actually become the winner of the 400-meter freestyle. And also in the last spurt, actually he has catching up with the others and win the game in the end.
赛提高了1秒4。包括
So the result is 034726 is better than his performance yesterday. 张子阳、成龙 also gained a medal this time, and also today they have a better performance as compared to yesterday's qualification game. Actually, that is what we want to see. So we do want to see a very intense competition, because this kind of competitiveness will actually motivate these athletes to come up to their full strength.
Now coming to the women's 400. So that's a freestyle. Lane 8 from Hebei, Yu Zhuan. 04:10:62. That's her performance yesterday. Lane 1, Zhang He from Hebei. 04:10:30. Lane 7, Hou Yawen from Liaoning.
侯亚文也是
Her result yesterday, also these years' performance, Wang Jianjiahe actually is quite strong
而且
for this distance. So we look at actually from the starting, she had a really good start.
现在应该说是
You
要
look
前
at
19年
actually
的
04, 03, 02, so her current result compared to her habit. From the children's competition or to the adult competition, we talk about actually the majority of the games. Actually, it's the preliminary games happen in the morning, and then the finals or semifinals in the evening. But we look at today, actually for Tokyo Olympic Games, also arranged that the semifinal and finals actually happen in the morning. Of course, it's fair to everyone because all athletes compete in the morning. So we talk about then the winners will be the one who can adapt themselves to their peak performance in the morning. No one can change it because this is already set in stone for Tokyo Olympic Games. So this is a really big competition. That is also why today for the national competition, this is national championship. So we also arranged these finals in the morning session. So of course, based on today's performance so far, that the athletes not really perform so well. But right now we look at Tang Mohan already catch up. And right now she's taking the first position. It's lane 5, Tang Mohan, and the margin is 0.548.
那如果说您在早上比赛，整个人还感觉没睡醒的情况下，您有没有一些比较个性化的方式，就像拍打
So we talk about actually if athletes not really adjust themselves to their peak conditions, what kind of the way to really stimulate themselves. So maybe do some jumpings, do something that really require muscle strength, that require power to really help yourself awake. And also, of course, for athletes, they have their own habits. So we look at the different athletes, if they're yellow or they have different ways to really to boost themselves.
So it's
really like to adjust their own condition to the peak. So right now, Wang Jianjia right now catch up, and right now we can see that another shuffle. So Wang Jianjia from lane 4 coming back to the first place, and this is the final, the last 15 meters. So let's see, because just now we already see a big tidal turn in the men's competition. Yes, in the last 5 seconds, so I see Wang Jianjia right now is speeding up, right now to win more ground for herself. And we see Wang Jianjia lane 4 touch the wall first, and the margin for the second place is 0.55. So Wang Jianjia actually did a good job in the sprint. Has also showed her with a very strong muscles. But still, we look at the whole performance of Wang Jianjia from lane 4 athlete. Got the first place, and for the second place, and she also improved her results by nearly 1 second. But we talk about Wang Jianjia, the first place actually slower compared to her performance in yesterday's preliminary game. Maybe of different reasons, she not really show her best. Or we talk about that they really need to adjust to their best position before entering to water. So they need to really think about how to really help themselves. Either they have a really strong head-to-head the competitors, then that will be really good that stimulation. And if they not really have a strong competitors alongside with them, then they need to think about that in your own lane and there's no body contact. So really think about how you can compete with yourself. The only thing you can do is like you really need to let yourself awake, and because you cannot control others, of course you can use your own tactic to really mess up others' tempo, but in the end you're in your own lanes without any body contact. You need to really think about that, how you can really keep your own rhythm while that's let others be totally lost. So we talk about that right now. The indoor temperature is quite high, but we look at the athletes actually really wear down jackets. So we talk about this way too much for them. We talk about that as long as the athletes not sweat, then let's just keep them warm. So just wear whatever you want because they need to keep their muscle warm enough so they can deliver their best performance.
But if you're getting sweating and then you have to take off your coat, because otherwise you will resume some of your energy. So for amateurs, actually, this also applied to those people. So actually, it is not just for human beings, but also for machines. So for example, for the F1 formulas, and before the start of the game, you will actually put up some of the coatings to protect those formulas. So that's why we are saying that we have to keep warm for not just human beings, but also the machines. So this is the same idea that we have to make sure that we can protect the muscles for the athletes. So we have to keep warm before we start swimming. So as long as you're not sweating, then you should put on a coat. Now we have the award ceremony for the 200-meter butterfly for the men's team. So actually, we still remember that Wang Zhou in the last 15 meters sprint, actually he become the winner. Actually, have surpassed the other athletes in the last 50 meters. For national competitions, there may be some differences for the capability and the skills, but for some high-level competition, the last 5 meters is very important. So all the athletes have to pay attention to the later stage of the game. Now we will have the award ceremony for the 200-meter butterfly for women's group. Now we will invite the athletes and the award presenter to come to the stage. We have the director of Hebei Swimming and Lane 1 from Guangdong Province, Tao Guannan, 0203, 35 in yesterday's performance. Lane 7 from Zhejiang, Qian Zhiyong. And yesterday he had the performance of 0203 and 35. Wu Junjie from Zhejiang, 0203-13 in yesterday's performance. Lane 6, also from Zhejiang, Pan Zhanyue, 0202-25 in yesterday's performance. Qin Haiyang from Shanghai. And also, he used to be a record holder in the past. And actually, it is his second time to come to the competition for today. And also, Lane 5, also an athlete who is the second place for last year's national competition. Lane 4 from Zhejiang Province. And also a record holder for a 200-meter medley for last year. And yesterday he also gained a result of less than 2 minutes, and also he had a 4-second advantage as compared to other athletes. And so he is also the record holder, and he gained the 3rd place in Olympic Games 4 years ago. In the past several years, he had a very good morale. I believe he would like to pursue for a 2nd place or the gold medal in the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games. So some of the athletes we could see they have gained a good performance and also a big improvement as compared to their previous performance. For some of the athletes, they could compete in international competition, and they are also able to gain medals. All right, now the 200-meter individual medley is officially started. So for butterfly, it's actually one of the advantage for Wang Shun. And he used to participate in the 100-meter butterfly competition for men. So Wang Shun is 0.51 seconds ahead of the others. Wu Junjie, number 3. Now it's coming to the backstroke. Now Wang Shun is still leading the other athletes. Actually, for the first swimming position, Qin Haiyao is very close to others because we think he is very good in the breaststroke. Now we come to the third swimming position, the breaststroke. Let's see if some of the athletes can catching up with the others. Well, I think it's very difficult to catch up with Wang Shun. But if he wants to gain a better position, maybe he should catch up with the breaststroke. Well, let's take a look at the second tier of the athletes. Now Wang Shun is leading the others. Very good performance with a very nice turn. Let's see the final sprint for Wang Shun. Let's see if he could sustain the record or even break the record for himself. Let's all cheer up for Wang Shun. Actually, he is competing with himself. Alright, the final result is 156.40. Very good performance for Wang Shun. In the past few years, you see Wang Shun has sustained the performance about the 1 minute 56 seconds or 1 minute 55 seconds. So he always expecting himself to be faster. So I think 1 second advantage is very key, and it's very difficult for some of the athletes to surpass himself by 1 second. So they have to make a breakthrough for their own record. For me, as an outsider, and when I look at the individual medley, I can see there are 4 different swimming positions. So I think if we can ask the athletes to decide the sequence of the swimming position, maybe they could deliver better results. What do you think? Well, it's just like the relay game. Sometimes they would like to put the female players first, and sometimes they put the men players first. So there may be some differences in the final results. But we have to hold up to the same standard for these athletes. And some people, maybe they're good in the freestyle, sometimes they're good in the breaststroke. Well, that depends on the different conditions for these swimmers.
And then right now coming to the 200 meters women's individual medley. I have lane 8. Right now this is lane 1 from Shanxi, 02:17:12. And lane 7, Zhao Jinglei, 02:17:50. Lane 2, Zhu Chaonan from Sichuan with 02:16:18. Lane 6 from Shanxi, Liu Haiyun with 02:15:66. Lane 3, Wang Xingya from Guangdong with 02:15:40. Lane 5, Ye Shiwen from Zhejiang. She's a very well-known athlete, and also the A champions at a different world and national level championship. And this lane 4, Yu Yiqing from Zhejiang with 02:11:03, ranking number 1. And actually, yesterday her result is 1 second ahead of the Ye Shiwen, second place. So these top 2 athletes are from Zhejiang province. And also we know that the A a little bit younger. We don't know whether that Ye Shiwen will later on give that the A realistic to the younger athlete. And I will also keep a close eye on Ye Shiwen's performance.
确实啊，这个拿冠军男、首冠军跟
So the first stroke is the a butterfly.
对你有冲击。
So we talk about it's the hard to get a championship and it's even harder to maintain your leading position as a champion. So right now still the lane 4 is right now the number 1. And we talk about Ye Shiwen actually is experienced, rich experience in different games, nationally and internationally. And right now actually Yan Zibei is really good at the backstroke and breaststroke. We will see how Ye Shiwen will catch up and even lead
需要
the
太
whole
紧
game.
张啊，我还是相信叶诗文的实力。
So we do not need to worry too much. We know that Ye Shiwen can make it. Right now Ye Shiwen already catch up to the second place. And then coming to that breaststroke.
游得非常棒。
So this is already the third
选
stroke.
手就是要有
And Yu Yijing, of course, she performs really well. She's looking really nice today so far. And of course, she's really young, and we believe she also have that plenty potential.
在叶诗文比较强的2种泳姿当中，她还是能够守住这个。
And we can see still that she has a quite big advantage than the other athletes. Right now, she's leading the game. And this is the final touch. And still Yu Yijing is keeping
一方面是希望
first
像叶诗文
place.
这样的名将能够
And then the look at the margins 2, 3, 8.
但其实我们也非常
Of course, we're looking forward Ye Shiwen to have a good performance, but we're also looking forward to young athletes show their talents. We talk about that the Yu Yijing actually they are the rising stars of China's swimming pool game. And Yu Yijing touched the wall, and then the second place, lane 5 Ye Shiwen, and then is third place is
当先锋。
from Guangdong team.
说
And we talk about actually the Yu Yijing kept her leading position throughout the whole competition.
这个调整还是有些欠缺吧。但是就像我之前说的，
So we still will look forward that Ye Shiwen can help herself adjust to her best position, to the peak performance. Of course, different athletes attend the game with different purpose, and we not really need to say that every athlete need to really show whatever they have in each and every game. So because that they have a different requirements, different purpose, and also with a different body condition, you cannot require them to reach their peak performance in every game. So for Ye Shiwen this time,
状态也就是最好的时候也就一次啊，不像年轻的时候可能1年有2、3次这个运动状态的高峰啊，所以肯定还是希望。
and we also talk about given her age. So it's actually require additional efforts for her to keep her peak performance. And we also talk about that the 1 year delay of Tokyo Olympic Games, that may be a really big threat because like for the audience, think about just 1 year, that's a total full year, that's the impact to athletes because they can train additional year. But we talk about actually for the athletes, some athletes like they can really perform well that's in their own
就昨天我看那个纪录片，就讲
circle
跳水的那个
or the cyclical period. So for the veteran athletes, some can really perform
昨
quite
天之前
good
就29岁啊，这个作为跳
just
水
within a year. So we talk about that 1 full year delay that really causes a big
跳
impact
水
to
看到
athletes'
奥运会
performance.
倒计时还100多天，明天
So
进
we
去的时
talk
候
about
变成400
actually
多
for the
那种
athletes.
心态就是直接是崩了，
对
他说
说的稍微夸张一点，可能进去第一眼的反应就已经绝望了。
绝望。
So we talk about that some athletes actually they actually maintain the really good the performance. Actually they're ready right now come into their countdown the performance mode. So it's like a countdown to Tokyo Olympic Games just in 100 days, and then the second day when they entered to the training venue they saw that 400-day countdown to Tokyo Olympic Games. So this is really a big game changer to athletes because they cannot really perform at the same level as what they now. So the maybe they can perform better. That will be the good news, but still depend.
决赛成绩3分47秒26。
And congratulations to Ji Xinjie,
获奖选手
03,
都比昨天的预赛
14.
今天在游泳
So we talk about actually these three gentlemen actually perform better than yesterday. So we look at their results actually faster than yesterday. So this is the 400-meter men's
最
freestyle.
后100呢又冲了一冲啊，确实我觉得还是有这个实力吧，我觉得啊，这个可以在比赛中做一些这种尝试。
其实这就是最理想的一种以赛
So we talk about that actually athletes can find their own different temples and also have a different trials. So that's also a good result that we use the competition for training. So we actually would like to try something new in different competitions. I believe that's also some of the purpose for the athletes to attend this level of the competition. We talk about that some tactic or some new trials may impact the changes to the others. So talk about that. You can mess up your competitor's tempo. And then coming to the 400-meter women's freestyle world presentation.
确实，对于所有运动员来说，比赛当然都希望拿冠军啊。但是呢，这个竞技体育，
Of course, every athlete
如果说
should look for
就能决定这个名次，也不用比了。
one, the only position, which is the top one
确实，
among others.
观众，这个现在来说，包括我自己也是作为观众，当然希望每个队员都能在比赛中能够发挥得更好，但是有时候也要理解。
Of course, we wish the athletes can perform well and even surpass
顺利啊，都能拿到冠军。
就我们平时
their current performance to show their potential and create a good result. But of course, that's not really something that frequently been seen, and you cannot really guarantee that you have the same performance today and tomorrow. And the lady for the top place is Wang Jianjiahe.
大的压力是的，应该说汤姆涵的这
And also we talk about the second place. Tang Mohan actually is a really good competitor. And also she improved her quite a lot in the past half
青岛
year.
比赛要提高了1秒。
And also we look at this the recent 2 months. She also improved herself by shorten her results by 1
在
second.
我当运动员的时候，包括我们现在也跟很多运动员交流的过程中，就是
So indeed, actually, we talk about the athletes. It's very important to have that really good competitor. And we talk about that.
但是呢，其实压力更大。
You got the A championship before in different games. You know how to really get another one. But actually, it's different games, different DA pressure. And you talk about you were the A champion. You should be a defending your championship. But actually, it's not that easy. So for the others, that people think, oh, you're not really get that championship this time, then you'll be a loser. So we talk about we cannot really make themselves as the winner for every time. So this is require really big mental and physical strength.
之前我们在比赛前我们也在交流啊。
So of course they need to change their mindset and also change their attitude to the games.
半决赛、预赛、半决赛游得不错。
So don't actually wait too much on these kind of things. So we talk about the athletes. Actually, they did really good in the preliminary games, and then they think about that we maybe the expected champions, and then actually they not really had a good performance in finals. So we talk about just really a slightly detailed movement will be a big difference in the final results. So we talk about for this morning, all games, all competitions actually were already complicated. They were already completed, and right now we will have a final award presentation for 200-meter individual medley.
机会啊。其实今天我们看到在比赛当中，其实有很多选手是有尖项的情况，而且
So during this short break, we have talked a lot about the swimming competition.
对您以这个专业运动员的角度来看，就是怎么
And
样
we
去
could see for some of the athletes, their gaining the advantage in certain type of the swimming position. So as a professional
一般来说吧，
athletes,
在我们常规
so
的
any tips for the athletes on selecting their swimming positions?
如果今天像
For us, for like breaststroke swimmers, and for some of them, they may not be an expert in other kind of
它的发
positions.
力有相通之处。
对，蝶泳自由比较多，然后呢，
But for athletes, if they're in a butterfly or expert in a freestyle, maybe they're able to switch to another type of swimming positions, because the way they come up with their strengths is quite similar.
来总结自己的这种
So
更
that
适
is
合
the
于哪种
general
哪个
guidelines.
距离里，
But we think we need these athletes to do a lot of training, so they would understand what kind of swimming position is suitable for them. So now we have the award ceremony for the 200-meter individual medley. Deng Ziqi from Guangdong actually gained the third place.
这个第3的选手决赛当中
Qin Haiyao from Shanghai
是拿到第2，
used to rank number 3 in the qualification game.
本次比赛
And this time, he came up with the results of 1:59 and come up with the second place. And Wang Shun,
而且这个项
or
目的决赛的
1:56 and
3
40,
名选手他们的成绩都
become
比预
the
赛
winner of the
比较明显
200-meter individual medley.
像汪顺是提升了2
For
秒
these
啊
three
邓紫棋这边
athletes
也
and
是比
all
比
these
赛快
three
了1秒
athletes
左右
had improvement for their results as compared to the preliminary game. For Wang Shun, 2 seconds ahead of his performance yesterday.
接下来女子200米个人混合泳的颁奖仪式。
Now we will have the award ceremony for the 200-meter individual medley for women's group.
那今天晚上今天
Actually, in this morning, it is the last item for this morning's
这样的
competition.
一个时间上的空
And we do not have any games in the afternoon. We have an evening
还会有其他项目
for
比赛。
other
那下午一般
games.
会做一个什么样
So
的
there is a break between the morning and the evening.
纯休息？
And if some of the athletes, if they are going to the preliminary game in the evening, what will these athletes do in the afternoon? I think these people, they will take a nap. They have to take a rest in the afternoon because they have to reserve some strength. If they already attended the competition in the morning, meaning that they already consumed some of the energy. So these people have to take a nap.
可能在1小时
It should not last for too long because they still have to keep up with a very high morale. So probably these people will take a 1-hour nap. And in the evening, the preliminary game is about to start around 7:30 p.m. and they will come to this venue at around like 4:30 p.m.
晚饭应该要在比赛后回
They
到
will have a very quick dinner.
比赛前就是保证一个最起码的
And
能
maybe
量
after the competition, they will have a proper dinner. So they just have to maintain their physical strength before the
颁
game.
奖仪式。
Well, right now we have the award ceremony for the 200-meter individual medley for women.
出席本次比赛的颁奖嘉宾是养生堂有限公司副总裁钟小小女士。第3名，王欣雅。
广东队的王欣雅获得了第3名，成绩
Third place goes to Wang Xingya from Guangdong Province with the result of 2 minutes 15 seconds and 50. Second place goes to Ye Shiwen from Zhejiang Province with her result is 2:13.85. Yu Yingti is the winner, 02:11.10.
其实这个今天的200米个人混合泳，我们看到了老将的这种坚持和能力，也看到了新人这种冲劲啊，这是我们特别愿意看到的。
So for the 200-meter individual medley, we could
好的，那今天
see
上午我们在前方的
the strength of the experienced athletes and also we could see some of the ambition of the young athletes. So that comes to the end of this morning section. And other games will come back in the evening. Well, that's the end of this morning section for the swimming competition.